graph the linear equation on the coordinate plane. Remember, this is your x, this is your y. This is my equation in slope-intercept form. You should know y equals mx plus b. M is your slope. B is your y-intercept. Now, the words I use for slope, since it's a letter M, do you understand slope is your movement and B is your beginning? Hopefully you remember this. B, your y-intercept, is your beginning. M for movement. It's basically a set of where you begin and where you move. So in this particular problem, we need to find M and B. M is a number next to the x. So this one is 2. Which, can we write that as 2 over 1? 2 is, the M is next to the x, which is 2, which could be written 2 over 1. And the B is a number by itself, which is a negative 3. What all that means? Well, your B value is a y-intercept. So this is your y-axis. So if you begin at negative 3, isn't this on the y-axis, isn't this negative 3 down? Negative 3 down on the y-axis, y-intercept. And your slope or your movement from this beginning point is 2, 1. 2 over 1. Now, in order to move somewhere, don't you first have to find out where you're beginning at? Yes. So we're going to start from our beginning value and move 2 over 1. Remember, slope is rise over run. So from here, we're going to go up 2 and always to the right, 1. It's 1, so up 2 over 1, 2 over 1. Now, are 2 dots enough for a line? Yes. But if you wanted to, you could also do it one more time. So up 2 over 1. Are they still on the same line? Yes. You could keep going if you want. You don't have to. But if you keep going, you will see a nice little line. There it is. Again, you begin at negative 3. You move up 2 over 1. Okay. Now, the second graph, you could do it 2 ways. We talked about x and y intercepts. I'm first going to talk about x and y intercepts. And from this graph, do you understand that if I plug 0 in for y, won't my y disappear? Leaving me 2x equals 3. And if I plug 0 in for x, won't that leave me negative y equals 3? So here, for x, I plug 0 in for y, I get 3x equals 3. Over here, I plug 0 in for x, I get negative y equals 3. Let's solve both of these. It's a real slick way of graphing. If I solve this, don't I just divide by 3? X is 1. Isn't this my x-axis, my y-axis? Isn't x 1? 1 comma 0. Remember, I plug 0 in for y. Here, if I divide by negative 1, isn't that 0, negative 3? 0, negative 3? Isn't that negative 3 on my y-axis? Do you have 2 dots? Can you make a quick sketch? So, if you plug 0 in for y, you're left with 3x equals 3. When you solve it, you get 1. If you plug 0 in for x, you're left with negative y equals 3. When you solve it, you get negative 3. Y is negative 3, x is 1. There's your line. Now, that is one way. The other way is to take your equation, 3x minus y equals 3, and solve it so it looks like this one. If you want to solve it so it looks like the other one, you minus the 3x over, leaving you negative y equals negative 3x plus 3. Again, this is the other way of doing it. and then you divide by -1. When you do that, you end up with y equals -3 divided by -1 is +3. 3 divided by -1 is -3. Where do I begin this graph? At -3? Isn't it your slope 3? Up 3 over 1? Do you get the same thing? Begin at -3, slope of 3, movement of 3, up 3 over 1, same graph. So you can either change it to look like this and graph it, or you can just get rid of the zeros, get rid of the x's, get rid of the y's, find the x and y intercepts, and graph it. Two different ways.